Welcome to this training video on the Medical Record Review tool in the Healthy Data Systems Site Review website, brought to you by a small work group of plan representatives and Jeff Hobson, the developer of HDS. The Medical Record Review, or MRR tool, is split up into 6 domains or sections. All the questions on the tool are worth 1 point each. The total number of points for each section of the tool depends on how many records are being reviewed. Multiply the number of questions in each section by the number of records. A typical medical record review consists of 10, 20, or 30 records depending on the number of PCPs working at the site. The total number of questions in each section are listed here. As you can see, the first 3 sections apply to all members whose charts are being reviewed. The last 3 sections apply based on the age of the member. Pediatric preventive applies from birth up to 21 years old. Adult preventive applies to members 21 and over. If OB records or perinatal records are being reviewed, then the appropriate preventive section based on the member's age applies. For example, both the pediatric preventive and perinatal sections would apply to a 19-year-old pregnant female. Both the adult preventive and perinatal sections would apply to a 26-year-old pregnant female. In HDS, a single MRR tool is identified on the audit scoring page with a blue MRR1. Sometimes more than one MRR tool must be completed during an audit. To add an additional MRR tool to an existing audit ID, scroll to the bottom of the audit scoring page, select MRR tool from the drop-down and click Create Audit. This will add another MRR tool identified as MRR2. In the gray bar at the top of the screen, it says Select Tool. Note that there is only one MRR listed here. Make sure to click on the blue MRR1 before selecting MRR above. This will put the user into the MRR1 tool. To access the MRR2 tool, click on the blue MRR2 and then click MRR above. Once inside the MRR tool, the user can switch between MRR1 and MRR2 using a drop-down selection. This slide shows what the audit scoring page looks like on a newly created MRR audit. There are some bright red banners that provide instructions on necessary steps to fill out the audit scoring page. Select the health plan reviewed and the review type to make those 2 red banners go away. To make the last red banner go away, select the providers being reviewed on this MRR tool by checking the box next to the providers' names. There are some fields on the audit scoring page that a user may want to fill in before completing the tool itself. Examples are the site due date, ordered and scheduled dates, the name of the reviewer, and filling in the site contact that the reviewer will be working with. If these fields are not filled in before the tool, the information will not display on documents such as the score sheet or the CAP portal. However, there is no negative impact to filling in these fields later and then accessing the score sheet or CAP. Note, if there is more than one MRR tool, the audit scoring page will need to be filled out for each one. Once the user clicks on MRR from the Select toolbar across the top of the page, they land on the first section of the MRR tool. From here, the reviewer can navigate to each section of the tool using the drop-down with the name of the section. If there is more than one MRR tool, the reviewer can switch between the tools using the MRR ID drop-down. The user must tell the system how many records are being reviewed on each tool. Enter the number of records in this box. After hitting enter, these boxes here will appear for entering the information about each member whose chart is being reviewed. Plans choose how much information to populate in these fields. HDS is a fully secure website with HIPAA safety certification, but whether protected health information or PHI is entered into the system is a health plan decision. Reviewers need the age and gender of each member to successfully answer the questions on the tool. PHI and other additional fields were added based on an all-plan letter released by DHCS. This example shows a 10-record review. The user must go to each section of the tool and enter the number of records. The format, documentation, and coordination sections of the tool apply to all records being reviewed, so the user would enter 10 on each of those sections. The information entered in the member information boxes will copy over to each section of the tool as the number of records is entered. A 10-record review typically has 5 pediatric records and 5 adult records for a family practice site. Those sections, the user must specify the starting position for that section. Reviewers usually arrange the records in order from youngest to oldest. So pediatric records would be 1 through 5 and adult records 6 through 10, with a starting position of 6 for adults. This is the member input screen. It opens in a new window when the user clicks on Member Input, located towards the top of the MRR tool page. Users can choose whether to enter member information on this screen or enter the information into the boxes on the grid level or grid view. There are many types of information fields available, but plans choose which fields their reviewers will populate. Age and gender are typically the minimum needed. If a user enters the information in this member input screen, it will automatically populate on the grid view after the user clicks Update and Close. Please note, clicking on the X to close this window will not let the information populate down on the grid view. Clicking on the Close button will allow a screen refresh, which lets the information populate on the grid view. So always update and click Close and not the X. The record number column indicates which record on the grid view will display the information entered here. If the user entered 30 as the number of records to be reviewed, there would be 30 rows of record fields here. The CIN, or Client Information Number field, was added based on an all-plan letter, but plans may choose not to use it. The date of birth field was also added based on the all-plan letter, and plans can choose whether to use it. If plans choose to enter the date of birth, the age column will populate automatically after the Update button is clicked. It updates with the age of the member at the time of the review. Gender is manually entered for each member. Health plan code is another new field added so that DHCS knows which plan a member is assigned to. Collaborating health plans may review records of members enrolled with other plans. If a reviewer uses a chart from another plan in their review, they can select the plan the member is assigned to from the drop-down. Date of enrollment was added because this date is helpful for reviewers to answer certain questions on the tool around the initial health assessment. Grid view, grid level, record view, and record level are terms used often when discussing how to conduct a medical record review in HDS. There are 2 ways that questions on the tool can be answered in the system, record level or grid level. At the grid level, the records to be reviewed are displayed with the PHI fields for each record. All questions for the section the user is on are displayed. There are 3 ways to answer questions at the grid level. The reviewer can answer the questions for each record individually. The reviewer can answer a question for all records at once by selecting from the drop-down at the end of each question row. This works if it's the same answer for all records for that question. A good example is the question about chart contents being securely fastened. They are all NA if the site uses an EMR. The reviewer can answer all questions for all records in a section by using this drop-down if desired. The bottom of each section of the grid view shows the total count of yes, no, and NA answers for each record and for the whole section. This is also where the update button is to save selections. This slide shows how the comment process works at the grid level. If a question is answered no, indicated by a 0 or NA, but there is no comment selected from the drop-down or typed into the box, a red background appears behind the answers. The red background appears behind all answer boxes, not just the one missing the comment. Its purpose is just to provide a visual that something needs to be corrected. The user should select a comment from the drop-down or type one into the white box and click Update. Once a comment has been entered, the red background goes away. The reviewer should edit the comment as it appears in the white box to indicate which record the comment applies to. Please note, the system does not know whether a comment has been entered for each no or NA answer. It only knows whether the comment box is empty. So it is up to the user to ensure a record number and comment is reflected for each no or NA answer. This slide shows the record level view of the MRR tool. This view is used to answer questions one member and one section at a time. To get to this screen, the user clicks on the REC button under the record they want to review, record 1 for this example. The record level screen shows which record is being reviewed here. The user can see which section of the tool they are on here. The next button is how the user navigates from section to section. Just like on the grid view, the user can answer all questions in the section using the default all dropdown. The last and most important feature on the record level screen are the update and close buttons. The update button saves all the selections and entries on the screen. The close button is super important as it prompts a screen refresh when the window closes and the answers selected and comments entered or selected show up on the grid view. If you click on the X to close the window, that screen refresh does not happen and the answers will not appear. If you click Update, that only saves what the grid view shows, which is not the answers from the record view. Always click Close, never X. This slide demonstrates how commenting is done at the record level. When a reviewer answers a question no or NA, they should enter a comment to explain why. Next to each answer dropdown is a box with a C on it. When the reviewer clicks the C, a dropdown appears under the comment box. After the reviewer selects the comment from the dropdown, it appears in the white comment box. A newer feature of this comment box is that it includes both the record number and the question letter or question letter number combination. This slide shows what comments entered at the record level look like at the grid level. The system automatically pushes them from the record view to the grid view so that they can appear within the CAP portal. Please note, the CAP portal is a new feature of HDS that will have its own training video. The MRR CAP report within the MRR tool is intended to be replaced by the CAP portal. The comments do not appear on the MRR CAP report, but they do appear on the CAP portal. The score sheet in HDS is sometimes referred to as the tool cover page. Most plans do not send this document to their sites, but may send it to DHCS if asked to submit copies of the completed tools. Here are some important things to note about what appears on the score sheet and where the information comes from. Health plan is populated with the name of the plan listed in the HP Reviewed field on the audit scoring page. DHCS site ID and site NPI are populated from the site data page. Last review date and review date are automatically populated based on the audit history for the site and the date of the review on the audit scoring page. Clinic name and address are populated from the site data page. Phone, fax, contact name, and email are populated from the review-specific contact 1 on the audit scoring page. If no contact name is entered, these fields will be blank. 2 reviewers are listed here and are populated from the audit scoring page. The EMR system and record type populates with the selections made on the audit scoring page. The number of records populates based on the number of records in the tool. Shared records is defaulted to yes because if the records were not shared, they would be on a different tool. The number of providers is based on how many providers have the boxes checked next to their names on the audit scoring page. The names of the providers whose boxes are checked appear here. There is room for up to 8 providers, and then the rest appear at the bottom of the page. Visit purpose is checked automatically based on the review type on the audit scoring page. Site-specific certifications are checked based on what appears on the site data page. Notice that provider type does not have anything checked. This is intentional, and here is an example scenario to explain why. This site has 6 providers, 3 of whom see only children, and 3 of whom see only adults. No sharing of records. This scenario requires reviewing 20 records, 10 on MRR1 and 10 on MRR2. The score sheet for MRR1 would have the provider type pediatrics checked, and only the providers who see kids would show up. The score sheet for MRR2 would have either family medicine or internal medicine checked, and only the providers who see adults would be listed. Because of the possibility of different scenarios, it is up to the reviewer to check the appropriate box based on the tool they are completing. The previous slide showed the fields on the score sheet that are all pre-populated and not editable. This slide shows which fields are editable. The IPA associated with the site can be added here. The site NPI can be added here. The last review date is editable. The boxes for site-specific certifications, provider type, and clinic type can all be clicked while in edit mode. To make the screen editable, click on the Print button, make any changes necessary, and click Submit. Print View is another feature in HDS. Most plans do not send this document to their sites, but may send it to DHCS if asked to submit copies of the completed tools. The print view shows some demographic information at the top. Then it shows each question on the tool and how it was answered for each record. As discussed earlier in the video, commenting can be done at the grid level or the record level. Comments on the print view appear both ways. Comments entered at the grid level appear here in line with the question. Comments entered at the record level appear here at the bottom of each section. Commenting in the medical record tool may require some editing, so the information is clear and concise. In this example, records 2 through 5 all had either no primary language and/or no linguistic services noted in the chart. At the record level, for record number 2, question F was answered no, and a comment was selected from the drop-down. Repeat this same scenario for records 3, 4, and 5. The top picture shows what the grid level looks like when commenting at the record level. This bottom picture shows how the comment box can be shortened down to just one comment, indicating records 2 through 5 had no primary language and/or linguistic services noted. As you will see on the next slide, this editing may be important if a reviewer needs to send the print view to DHCS. This slide shows what the print view looks like when comments have been entered at the record level. As you can see, the same comment for records 2 through 5 also show up in line with the question, because the record level comments get pushed to the grid level. Without any editing at the grid level, this is how the comments will appear on both the print view and the CAP portal. There will soon be a link to open the print view in Microsoft Word so that editing can be done there before sending the document to DHCS. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video on the medical record tool in HDS. We hope it will help both new and seasoned users of HDS to navigate the system.